New charges for the Wisconsin woman accused of abusing her 3-year-old son. This nearly 1 month after Elijah Vue was last seen.
So now she's facing additional charges with much higher penalties.
Now, a grandmother turning against her own daughter as the search for her grandson trudges into its 3rd week.
I don't feel it's worth the risk to lower her bond, especially as victim has not been found and many questions are unanswered.
And for the first time, we're hearing from Elijah's caretaker, who first reported the boy missing.
Yeah, I just got a question I want to put in a motion for bail reduction.
Plus, the Northeast Wisconsin community comes together, still searching for little Elijah.
He's become like Wisconsin's little boy, but he's also become like nationally, everybody's little boy.
Katrina Bauer and Jesse Vang both appeared in Manitowoc County Court on Thursday for what was supposed to be a preliminary hearing, but plans quickly changed when prosecutors announced new charges.
The matter's on the calendar for a preliminary hearing today. I had an opportunity to talk with counsel earlier. Attorney Larson had filed previously a motion to modify bail. And then I think it was late yesterday, filed a motion to dismiss count 1. My understanding after talking with counsel is that Attorney LaBrie anticipates filing an amended complaint. And based on that, the parties are asking to adjourn the preliminary hearing 1 week.
Now, on top of her obstruction charge for allegedly lying to police about her location, Katrina Bauer's original felony charge of neglecting a child was upgraded to chronic neglect of a child. Prosecutors also added another misdemeanor charge of neglecting a child.
We have now changed count 1 to chronic neglect as party to the crime. We have also added the count 4, which involves neglect to another child who is 6 years old from February 14th. So now she's facing additional charges with much higher penalties.
All of this stems from the disappearance of 3-year-old Elijah Vue, who was last seen on Tuesday, February 20th in Two Rivers, Wisconsin. That's about 30 minutes south of Green Bay. At the time, Elijah was staying with Jesse Vang, his mother's boyfriend. According to court documents, Bauer dropped her son off with Vang, who planned to keep the boy for about a week. The purpose of the visit was simple: to teach the 3-year-old how to be a man. An original criminal complaint details gruesome accusations of abuse at the hands of Vang, who referred to the discipline as timeouts, but compared them to boot camp. This included making Elijah stand up for 3 hours at a time and repeatedly chant, "I'm sorry, mommy." Vang also threatened Elijah with cold water, something he knew the boy was afraid of. It was Vang who reported Elijah missing at about 11 a.m. on February 20th. Vang told investigators he went to take a nap at about 8 o'clock that morning. He said Elijah was in the room when he fell asleep, but had vanished when Vang woke up 3 hours later. Court documents state that while Vang was sleeping, he would, quote, lock the door to the apartment at the doorknob, deadbolt, and with a security chain attached at the top of the door to keep the victim from walking out of the apartment. Both Vang and Bauer were later charged with child abuse and booked on $20,000 and $15,000 bonds, respectively.
Your Honor, we are asking that the court reduce the bond to 1 of a signature. I would note that Ms. Bauer is a resident of Wisconsin. She's a lifelong resident of Wisconsin. She has no serious record. She has 2 prior CMs of disorderly conduct and 2 CTs. She had no misses in the 2 CMs, which were in 2011 and 2015.
That was Katrina Bauer's attorney, Ann Larson. Together, they appeared at the hearing via Zoom from the Manitowoc County Jail on Thursday. You can see Bauer in the video wearing an orange jumpsuit.
Ms. Bauer did suffer a significant brain injury in 2015. I do not know if that contributed, but that would be my guess. She has some difficulty regarding dates and things of that nature. She did have a neuro assessment done I do not yet have that, but she is receiving SSDI for that condition. As I stated, she's a resident of Wisconsin. She will not leave the state of Wisconsin. She doesn't have anywhere to go outside of Wisconsin.
Bauer's attorney suggested she was not a danger to the public and simply wants to know where her son is.
Obviously, this is a very high-profile case. There's a lot of high emotion going on, but there's also high emotion going on with Ms. Bauer. She's been worried sick, not knowing where her son is.
Right away, the state pushed back on all of this, citing Bauer's past run-ins with the law.
Your Honor, the state is opposed to any modification in bail. As Attorney Larson indicated, the defendant in 2017 had multiple failures to appear for court. As far as record outside of Wisconsin, we don't have any convictions for her, but she does have contacts with law enforcement in 2014 in the state of Nevada, one in March of 2014 and one in April. Again, those weren't convictions, but it does show that she has had contacts outside of the state of Wisconsin. The state feels that the cash bond at this point is appropriate. In fact, in light of the amended complaint, I would say it may even be low.
Prosecutor Jacqueline LeBray explained Bauer's new charges and alleged abuse against both 3-year-old Elijah and another child, age 6.
These cases obviously involve the care of some very young children. One of the children is around the age of 3, the other is around the age of 6. And not only were we dealing with the defendant sending the child to Two Rivers for discipline, or the boot camp as they described it, to make that child fearful of the co-actor so that when the child returns to her residence, he would behave better. There is also evidence that on February 14th, she left the 6-year-old unattended in a vehicle for approximately an hour in cold weather. The temperature around that time was around probably 27 to 30 degrees with the vehicle turned off. Then we have also, as part of count 1, the chronic neglect on February 16th, leaving the 3-year-old unattended for at least an hour as her and the other co-actor are traveling to locations in the city of Manitowoc, and neither one of them are seen with the child.
Law&Crime cameras were in the courtroom during the hearing and outside afterward. Those we spoke to, like Maria Wright, were shocked by these new revelations.
To know that there's another kid out there, and to think what that kid is going through, is she going through the same thing that Elijah went through? Who has this kid? They're my theories. It was heartbreaking.
But that additional abuse allegation wasn't the only thing we learned in court. On top of that, prosecutors alleged Bauer told Vang not to cooperate with law enforcement.
It's clear that this defendant is facing some serious charges and there's grave concern. She knows she's facing potential imprisonment, which is an incentive to flee. She also was encouraging the co-actor not to cooperate with law enforcement.
Local resident Lori Hamblin, who is assisting in the search for Elijah, told our cameras she was upset to learn about these new allegations, in addition to what she thinks is puzzling behavior on the part of Katrina Bauer.
Every individual cannot help but try to figure out what happened, where he is, and why they're not giving us more information. And what also struck me too was the fact that even on the 20th, through text messaging, she had told Jesse, do not talk to the police. Do not say it. Call an attorney. As a mother, your first words should be, where's my son? Tell me what happened. We need to get help.
An amended criminal complaint paints an even darker picture about Vang and Bauer's alleged abuse. Days before Elijah went missing, quote, Katrina Bauer and Jesse Vang begin discussing Katrina coming to Jesse's apartment for sex. Jesse says that Katrina cannot see victim, child 1, that's Elijah, when she gets to the apartment, and that Elijah can be placed in the bathroom while they have sex. A few days later, disturbing text messages were sent between the pair. When Jesse Vang messages Katrina Bauer, "I told you to trust me. I'ma make sure he hates me and being here." She responded, "Don't want him to hate you, just fear you." Jesse responds, "It's okay, someone had to be the bad person." In addition to these new revelations in court, prosecutors also read a harrowing statement straight from Bauer's mother.
Rather than aligning in locating her son, she feels the need to reiterate what a good guy Jesse is and is fully defending him and his actions. By aligning with him, she could potentially have access to his extended family and ability to flee the area. Katrina routinely will blame anyone and everyone for what happens without taking responsibility for her actions. It goes without saying she is incapable of making appropriate judgments in everyday life.
In the statement, Bauer's mother explains that their relationship has been severed since 2022, saying her daughter has no ties to the community. She believes Bauer would flee if she was released. Her mother also fears her own safety should Bauer be released on bond.
I don't feel it's worth the risk to lower her bond, especially as victim has not been found and many questions are unanswered. She does need to be held accountable for what rules out in the future. And I feel releasing her, she would be a flight risk. I have been the victim on her verbal and emotional abuse for a very long time. If the court finds any reason to reduce her bail, I would like to be assured of my peace and safety with a court-ordered no contact and GPS monitoring.
Ultimately, a judge ruled against Bauer's hope for a bond reduction.
The behavior that's outlined in the complaint in terms of not being honest with law enforcement as far as her presence goes gives me an incredible amount of concern about whether or not she would in fact make herself available for future court appearances. So for those reasons, the court will deny the motion to modify bail.
Immediately after Bauer's appearance, Jesse Vang also appeared virtually from the Manitowoc County Jail. While Vang qualifies for a public defender, one hasn't been appointed yet, so it was Vang himself who questioned the judge about bond.
Yeah, I just got a question I want to put in a motion for bail reduction.
Yeah, what I'll have you do is this, put in writing the reasons that you want to have your bail modified. Get that filed through the jail with the clerk of court, and we'll take it up at the next hearing on Wednesday, okay?
Okay, who do I direct the judge to?
Not me,
Okay,
okay?
what? Your Honor, what's your name?
Robert D. Wayne,
Okay. All right,
they'll
thanks.
help you out. They'll get it to the right spot, okay? It gets filed by your case number as opposed to finding me, so you get something in writing, just make sure you put your case number on it and we'll talk about it next week, okay, sir?
All right, thank you.
Throughout all this, volunteers across Northeast Wisconsin, like Lori Hamblin, have continued the search for Elijah. They say it's understandable why the case has gained national attention.
For me, he could be my grandson. You know, he looks like the little boy next door. You know, and when you watch his videos of him playing, you can't help but think about your own children when they're little, your own grandchildren when they're playing. It just pulls at the heartstrings, right at the heart.
Both Katrina Bauer and Jesse Vang are due back in Manitowoc County Court on March 14th for their preliminary hearings. If you have any information about Elijah Vue's whereabouts, contact Manitowoc County Crime Stoppers. Reporting for Law&Crime, I'm Gillespie.